What's going on, YouTubulous? Baker Man coming at you today, and it's just a little filler material. I'm having some brake issues on the big bike, so I've got somewhere to be in about an hour, and I want to ride the bike, so I want to try to get some brake pressure on my rear brakes, and so I'm going to go ahead and check that real quick. Let's jump in and take a look. So no real big issue. I have amazing front brakes that work on this. I know because I have hosed up everything myself down to both calipers, and my front brakes work amazingly. No issues. I actually use these about 90% of the time. The only time I really use my rear brake is really slow speed maneuvers and anytime I need to turn while braking. It kind of helps using the rear brakes in a turn, but it's still doable without the rear brakes. The other day I was pulling out of my parking lot at the apartment complex and I went to hit the rear brakes and I pushy, but no stoppy. I was having issues before this. I could actually push down, the brakes were a little spongy and it would slow the bike down, but it wouldn't stop it as fast as I liked. And then the other day they just completely stopped working. I don't know if it's going to be my master cylinder because you can see how it's kind of wet around the seals here, and it's got, looks like some brake fluid coming out there. But I'm going to open this up and check it out and see what we got. Word of advice to anyone that actually tries to do any work on their brake reservoirs: make sure that you have good quality screws in here. This one here looks like it might actually be starting to wear out. Needless to say, what I have done is whenever I built this bike, I figured out what the thread length and all that stuff was for these screws, and I went and got some good quality stainless steel. I probably got a bag of about 20 of them somewhere down here, and I keep those. That way, if any of these ever strip out, I can go ahead and replace it when it does. Make sure you get you a good quality screwdriver, one that you trust, one with a good bit on the end. Usually a number 2 bit works the best. But if you strip these out, trust me, they are a pain in the butt to get out. So I have removed the cover. Whenever you take your cover off, make sure you keep your 2 screws. You've got the metal cover on the outside. There will be a plastic plate and a gasket. And as you can see, this gasket is rather dry. And that's because I have no fluid in here. Couldn't tell you what happened, guys. I may have a leak somewhere, but strange thing is, I park on concrete and I have not had any leaks that I could tell, unless it was while it was on this carpet. But I don't know. Where is the bleeder valve? Is way up here behind the saddlebag. So let's see if I can. Yeah, there's my bleeder valve back there. I don't even know if I can get to that right now. Oh well, I'm gonna throw some fluid in here and see what it does. At the rear, I have this set up to catch any fluid that may come out. Strange thing is, when I plugged this in to the bleeder valve was loose. So now I know why I had brake leakage and soft brakes. Remember to keep a check on that stuff. There's some black magic way that these things work to where you don't have to break the cap every time. I hadn't really figured it out. I don't care. I just hook it up and let it drain out. Keep this full of fluid and you'll be good. Alright, so I didn't get to follow up earlier, but to you it's same time frame. Needless to say, it's been a whole afternoon. Time got short, phone overheated, couldn't finish recording. Had to go to my doctor's appointment and continue writing after that. So the brake is working. Let's take a quick overview. I want to keep this video short and sweet and to the point, but bleeding the brake system. It's specifically your rear brake on a Suzuki Intruder. Let's go over what you need. So if you go to your local auto parts place, this makes it a whole lot easier. It's supposed to be a self-bleeding system. Somehow it's black magic and it makes it to where you don't have to crack the bleeder valve. I just use it to catch out all of the brake fluid that drains out of the bleeder screw. So you don't have to have it. A tube would make it easier, but you don't even have to have that. You can just crack your bleeder screw, let the brake fluid come out, and close it back. I just didn't want to risk getting it all over the floor and any on the bike and on my hands, being that I had somewhere to be. So from there, you're going to need anything DOT3 equivalent. I have some DOT3 and some DOT4. Anything above 3 will work. And last but not least, 8mm ratchet, something open-ended. Definitely going to need open end. Coming to the bike, I hook up that tube to my brake bleeder. If you come back here to the back of the caliper like you saw earlier, it's way up there on top. It's just a little nipple that sits off the top of the caliper. Here's the one on my front. You just take this off, and that's what it looks like up under it. You hook that hose over the top of this, and what I like to do is you open up your reservoir, you fill it up with brake fluid, you give your brake pedal a few good pumps. While your brake pedal is depressed as far as it'll go, you take your 8mm ratchet, crack open that bleeder screw, and what will happen is you will see brake fluid come out of your caliper into this tube and down into here. While your brake pedal is still depressed, close that bleeder screw and then lift up on the brake pedal. And whenever you lift up, it's going to suck fluid out of your reservoir back into your lines to fill that void that is now caused. At the end of the day, it worked. I got enough fluid in there to give me enough pressure. It still doesn't stop the bike. And I don't know if that's just the way this particular back brake works, because it's only got one caliper on the front versus the front brakes that have 2 calipers on the front. So, I guess on paper it's half as strong as the front brakes, which is about what I'm feeling. But something inside of me says it should be able to stop the bike. It just takes too long going from speed. Even if you slam on the back brakes, it's not even strong enough to lock the rear wheel up, which you really don't want. But I feel like it should be strong enough to do that. So I've got some new brake pads ordered in the future. We'll put those on. I'll show you how to take care of that. And I really need to bleed out the rear system, being that it was completely void. So I'm sure there's some air bubbles in there too. Anyway, that's all for today. Something short and quick. I've had some people ask, how do you bleed brakes? So just thought I'd go over that real quick. Anyways, peace out, you guys.